All right, so everyone, welcome to the O.R.G. panel, the O.R.G. panel. And since we've had some new people come in, thank you for making this not my most pathetic panel ever. When I submitted this, I was genuinely thinking I would get Ori in the audience and maybe whoever he brought along with him because it is such a niche topic. Has anyone besides the front row played in an org before? Which one have y'all played in?
Endure. It's a rapid org.
I know Endure. I've never gone into your server, but I do know about you, I promise. Oh, but did I not see another hand over here?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I've just done a lot of Survivor, like on Instagram and like Twitter. Done like Traders game, Big Brothers game, like the challenge.
So everything I'm about to say, you already know.
Exactly. I used to run an org. Like I had a little community.
Nice.
So I run a community.
So I do co-host an org. I don't say I run it because it's a team effort. Our hub. A hub is where you have like people stay in between seasons so that you don't have to delete a bunch of channels. Our hub is pretty barren. People don't stick around, but when the new season comes around, they come back. But we'll get more into that a little bit later. Anyone who likes music, there are musically inclined orgs. I don't know any of them that have lasted longer than a season. So this is for the gamers in the room, not for the musicians, and I am sorry. Voice chatting. Ooh, I will get back to that later, but voice chatting meta is a weird thing. It can screw you over when you say, I guess I'm getting into it now. When you say, hey, I am at work. I can talk, but I'm stocking shelves or something. I can't type right now. Can we voice chat? You can get yourself voted out because you're being too social. But also you'll have seasons where that person didn't voice chat me. I don't care about them. It is such a coin flip and it's awful and it has both benefited me and screwed me over as a player. So an org, not an orgy, is an online reality game. This is a reality show or a game show. Some people do some like more game show style things. I have seen a server that specifically runs Deal or No Deal, and not Deal or No Deal Island, which is a delight. I did not think I was gonna like Deal or No Deal Island. It was the Boston Rob show season 1. I'm not gonna like say you're gonna get the other characters. It's Boston Rob, Boston Rob, Boston Rob. I have not started season 2, but I am so ready for David, the golden god of Australian Survivor. Ooh, yes. Anyway, it typically refers to a reality show. Why am I qualified to talk about this? I've played just under 20 orgs. I have only missed Merge, which means I've only missed the important part twice. Both of them in Folkviver, both of them 30-player seasons. One of them because Chris was my partner and he got voted out in 16th when I wasn't even at his tribal, and it was a partner season. If your partner got voted out, you got voted out. And then as soon as jury happened, you were no longer tied to your partner. Yeah. I have made the final of the org, not including challenge orgs, which I put in a separate category, but for the social orgs, I have made final 4 times. I have won 2 of them. I should have won the one I played last month, but we're not getting into that. No, the winner was very deserving, and I spent half a final tribal realizing I had lost and specifically trying to make sure the other guy didn't win so she could. But I won this jacket playing a 64-day game, which was not supposed to go that long. Yay, holidays. And I hold the challenge record in 2 orgs. In Winston's org, which is Winston's org, I won 7 individual challenges and had an idol that I played correctly. So I was actually immune for 62 of the 64 days. And the jury destroyed me over it. I won the game, but the jury was not happy. They were like, you didn't have to have a social game. And I'm like, I didn't have to have a social game, but I had a social game. And then in mystical matchups, which I placed 4th in season 16, they're a custom format I'll talk about later. I won 10 of their 14 total challenges. They are a not amazing race style org where you are always with a partner. So it was a mix of knowing what everyone's strengths were and also being able to carry my partner in what they weren't good at. So there is a bounty out for beating my challenge record in mystical matchups. Where are they played? Online. There are Discord orgs, which I'm most familiar with. There are Zoom and Skype orgs, which are falling out of favor. There are Reddit orgs, which are very much falling out of favor. Facebook orgs, which I've only encountered a couple of. They're not too common because of how people have their personal Facebook tied to them. Roblox and Minecraft are very popular, but I know nothing about them. What I do know about them is their age range is much younger. You are likely to be playing with 8-year-olds. You are likely to be playing with hosts that are 12. Given that I think everyone in this room is an adult, I would avoid the Minecraft Roblox ones and stick to something that has... They don't have to be an 18-plus cast. I've made friends that I genuinely appreciate having as friends, and they were 16 when I met them. I was not going to invite them to come to join me at MAGFest. That invite was explicitly for those 18 and up, but I'm glad that I met them. They were mature enough. The host of my first org was actually 14 at the time, and he lied to us and told us he was 17. I'm very proud to say that every time he has backtracked his age, we've been there to be like, let us write college apps for you. You are very mature. You hold yourself in high regard. You're very professional. I'm so proud of him. He is actually legitimately going to college finally. These are not in person. Live reality games are a thing. I run a Hunter exam at many conventions. O.R.G.s is slowly taking over the Hunter exam. I used to run live games that were like on my college campus, and every week someone would be voted out. Those are not orgs. They are live games. You get to do some very different things with live games, particularly physical challenges, which I do miss. Actually, I've met 6 of the people in this room playing a live game at, was it MAGFest or Katsu? I think it was MAG. So Total Drama MAGFest, pre-pandemic. Got to meet several very fun people, and it has made my life a much better experience. That being said, these digital games have made my life a much better experience. I got to meet someone who flew out from Seattle last week. They were in town for personal reasons, but because they were in Elizabeth City and I live in Chesapeake area, which is not quite North Carolina, I drove down, I picked them up, we went and played Pokemon Go for 6 hours. And this is a friend I've known for about a year now, and we're closer than many of my real life friends. These are real connections with great people.
I flew out from Oregon, and I gotta say, some of the people I've met online and at MAG are some of my closest friends.
Absolutely. If you are part of the MAG community online, if you're not part of the MAG community online, you're missing out. Internet friends are better friends sometimes. You just connect better than some of your IRL friends who are great friends, but they're your friends because you can go game together on a Thursday night. Common formats. What's your favorite reality TV show?
Taskmaster.
Okay, I love Taskmaster, but no.
Sorry, Game Changer.
I love Game Changer, but one day. You ask an average person on the street and not a MAGFester, you're going to get Survivor or Total Drama Island. So in Survivor, you have 2 phases. On the left-hand side, you have the pre-jury, and on the right-hand side, you have the post-jury. In a Survivor game, if there's a twist, it'll come into play. But traditionally, you'll have an immunity challenge where one team will win immunity, or 2 teams will win immunity. Or if you're Jack, only 1 team will win immunity and 2 people have to vote people out. Jack, you're a jerk. And then if you win, you're safe and you get to take a night off. And if you don't win, you have to go to tribal council. And I know that I'm being very redundant for people who have seen Survivor over the last 24 years. But it's the bread and butter of orgs. It is the format most people start with. When you get to about the halfway point, if you're in a 16-player season, you'll typically merge at Final 10. If you're in a 20-player season, you'll typically merge at Final 12. give or take one. New episode starts. If there's a twist things happen. Immunity challenge. Someone's voted out. Repeat. Eventually, you'll get down to the final 2 or the final 3, and the people who made merge, for the most part, are on the jury, and they get to vote for the winner. And you are tested on how you best outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted, or your strengths, your smarts, and your social. My one warning to anyone who plans to play an org: social is all anyone cares about. They don't care that you won the last 3 immunity challenges. They don't care that you found one of the idols in the fastest time it's taken to find a Jack Viver idol and played it correctly to negate votes. I love these people so much, except for him. No, Ty is a wonderful guy. He's just incredibly frustrating. But these are 4 of the 6 people I got to really enjoy this last season that I played last month with. One guy, Ian, who does not show his face, hence the Killua. And then Spencer, who pretends to be Mike White from Survivor season 27? Something? Sorry. Mike White from Pushing Daisies. No, he's in what's that Jack Black movie? School of Rock. He's in School of Rock. If you'd like to join Jack Viver, they're currently in preparation mode for season 19. This is a Survivor game. They are casting a fully new cast. It is their last new player season. Again, it is Survivor. And then they'll have Heroes versus Villains for season 20. And then Jack goes to college, and he's not allowed to host while he's a freshman. None of us are letting him do that. We are distinctly telling people, go away, let him focus on school. Anyone still scanning? These are all on Discord. The QR codes are all for Discord, by the way. All right, the challenge, which I did mention earlier. The challenge is a wonderful show, and it's wonderful because it's just so campy sometimes. You have a cast of anywhere from 16 to 40 players. And sometimes they play as individuals. And sometimes they play team versus team. And sometimes they play duo versus duo, which is their new season. Challenge All-Stars 4 is going to be a duos season. And they just kind of do whatever they want. The basic structure is you play a daily challenge. Everyone plays the challenge. And then you have nominations. Except sometimes you don't have nominations because they just decided they didn't have nominations that season. And sometimes you have the Hopper, which is a lottery system where everyone gets to submit a lotto ticket and one name gets drawn. And there's all these really silly changes for no reason other than because they wanted to change things, and I love it. And I shouldn't love it. It's awful. It's MTV trash, but it's so good. And then the losers of the daily challenge sometimes will play the name that gets nominated from the other losers of the daily challenge, and then they go into a head-to-head 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2 competition, and someone's eliminated until the end of the show, which can be anywhere from 6 players left to 14 players left, although I think in some of the team seasons it's still like 16 players left in the game. And then they run a final challenge, which is usually a couple of days. It's usually, hey, you're running a marathon and solving puzzles and eating gross food and all of those reality show things you expect. I don't care for the final normally. But you get some really, really fun TV moments. And as awful as the challenge occasionally is, and by golly, I hate when players are eliminated because they punched someone, there are also really good episodes with like, hey, you're climbing a rock wall on the side of a moving semi-truck. I don't know. It's not for everyone. On Discord, however, you're doing all of those things, but they're digital challenges, which means you're really focused on puzzles. There's a lot of counting. There's a lot of, you're sitting here for 2 hours, and every 5 minutes on the minute you're saying hi. Endurance challenges are the worst. They are a part of the community, but endurance challenges are bad. If you would like to play against me, I encourage you and your biggest rival to apply to Twisted Challenges Hell's Fury. Twisted O.R.G.s was a Survivor org that I played their season 7, and they gave me an economy season. They said everyone starts out with 1,000 points. If you win challenges, you get points. If you do these tasks, you get points. If you lose challenges, you lose points. If you want advantages, you can buy them with your points. Everyone who is above the 50% point threshold is safe. And so the entire season, I lent people points with interest. I borrowed points when I needed to without paying interest. And I kept myself safe the entire season, except for a couple of tribal councils where I knew I was going to tribal council. And during those tribals, the people I wanted to go with, we all lent someone points. So we all ended up there and we unanimously voted someone out. And we get to the end of the game, and I'm just sitting there like, I've got an economics degree. This is what I did the entire season to abuse the economy system. Didn't hurt, I won 4 individual challenges as well. And so I managed to win a near unanimous vote. The following season, All-Stars, I played some very fun strategic games. I convinced 7 players that I had an idol nullification advantage so that they would vote into a hidden immunity idol that was not hidden, that everyone knew Austin had. And I convinced them, yeah, we're going to vote Austin out. It's going to be unanimous. It's going to be great. And Austin and I voted Snowy out in a 2-5 or a 2-4 vote, 2-5 or 2-6 vote that was supposed to be split onto me. I lost that season 1-16. The guy who won the season had been production for multiple seasons. He had a lot of friends on the jury. Social wins. But challenge seasons are a lot less social. You can just be like, okay, I'm gonna do my challenge, and then I'm gonna go do real life stuff for the next 2 days and not pay attention to the org. There's a little bit of social. You do still have to know who the other players are, but it's a lot less time consuming. And that's why I don't put it on the same block as Survivor as Big Brother, which is a very social game. Each week in Big Brother, there are twists galore. Big Brother is the org that hosts run when they want to be unfair, because they will run twists that are just like, oh yeah, my favorite player is safe now. And you know why they do that? Because CBS Big Brother does that. And I hate it, and I won't watch Big Brother. Also, Big Brother lives to embarrass their players to no end. And I think the costumes are cute, but I think that a lot of the campiness that like TV show Big Brother runs with is just not something I can get behind. Like, we get it. They put themselves out there. They want to be famous. Lay off a little bit. But that's why CBS doesn't pay me any big money. So, in Big Brother, you have the head of household competition. That player is not only safe, but they have all of the power for the week. Thankfully, in orgs, Big Brother orgs run 3 or 4 day weeks. They don't run 7-day weeks. So you can get them done in a reasonable amount of time. Then the head of household holds all the power. They get to pick 2 or 3 or 4 players to put up for elimination. Those players and a couple of other players chosen at random and the head of household get to play in the veto competition. The winner of the veto gets to save any one player from the chopping block. Most of the time they save themselves. The best players save somebody else. Then there's a replacement nomination, and then anyone who is not on the block gets to vote out someone who is on the block. And then you start the week over, and a new head of household is played, but the head of household, you can't win it twice in a row, so you have to sit out. Hence why it's a much more social game. Now, for the first time ever, Nerd Wars, the org I co-host, is running a Big Brother season. I very much would like y'all to give it a try. We're giving it a try. We're putting a bit of a... Our hosting team is a little less random and a little more nuanced, so we're giving it a try. People have asked us to do Big Brother for a while. It has been hotel themed, and I've just been in charge of challenges. I don't know what the twists are for the season. I'll leave the QR code up for a little bit. Did anyone need me to go back for any of the other QR codes? Okay. All right. Traders and Mafia have been very popular lately. I don't have a... Yes.
Sorry, I missed the very beginning of this panel. How long, like, start to finish, do these games take? Like, on the scale of months or of...
So the longest game I've played has been 64 days. The shortest game I have played as a as a juror has been like 24 days. I think I do think the 2 games that I went out pre-jury were still like, I went on like day 26, 28. So these are long form games. People do run speeds, which are shorter. They are like 2-3 hours. People do run minis, which will be like a week long. Typically and I'm not going to say like the best hosts, like I'm not knocking on speeds or minis, but the best hosts do 24-hour cycles. You have 24 hours to play a challenge. You have 24 hours to submit your vote. Like time zones are a thing, and you've got like, we're adults, we have work, we have commitments. I'm not going to expect you to have something done in 8 hours, with occasional exceptions. Sometimes you have to make a decision as a challenge winner within a shorter time period, but you've had a day to think about it. Like, it's been announced ahead of time. If you win this challenge, you have this responsibility. And so you've got an answer typically within the first 15 minutes. Sometimes you have to have conversations, but those go pretty quick. Traitors and Mafia. If you've played Werewolf, the Traitors, the TV show, is a mix of Werewolf and The Mole. You have villagers and you have werewolves. You have traitors and you have faithful. It is like Blood on the Clock Tower. Yes, it is like Mafia. So your faithful, their goal is just to survive as long as they can. You have an expelling ceremony where you can get rid of people you think are the traitors, but every night the traitors get to kill off a faithful. There are balances in place so that they can make it a TV show, that they can make it a long-form game, where if too many traitors are killed off, they get to recruit faithful to become new traitors. I don't know if they have something in place in case, like, the traitors never get killed off, but if they only have 3 traitors, I think they can make a long-form game out of it. I've not watched any of the show yet, despite having a phenomenal host in both the US and UK versions. It is on my list. Real life, unfortunately, does come first. But these Town of Salem games have become very popular in the last 2 years. I don't have any links to any of them, but if you go to any of the servers that I've been pitching, there are people who are recruiting for their Traitors games. Amazing Race has died off a little bit. I don't see Amazing Race advertisements lately. Typically, Amazing Race, you have a new episode start. You start your race from checkpoint to checkpoint. At some point, you will have a detour or a roadblock. Once you have done one of these, you will then do the other one, and then you race to the checkpoint. This is typically done using Google Maps, and you'll put in, I take a taxi from point A to point B. It takes this much time, and they add that much time to your score, plus how long you spend on your detour and your roadblock. A detour is one of 2 challenges. You get to choose to go left or go right. They generally have very punny names. You'll have things like Brain versus Brawn, which is very straightforward, except the real Amazing Race likes to get tricky with it. If you choose Brain, you have to collect 10 sheep's brains and sell them in the market. And then you have Brawn, which is count the number of sheets in a brawny paper towel roll. They'll trick you like that. Or they'll have things that rhyme, and I don't have any good examples, and I totally should have written down a good example. But you as a duo do the detour. The roadblock, only one of your team performs, and by the end of the season, you are only allowed to do 50% of the roadblocks. If you do the first 5 roadblocks in a 10-leg season, your partner is doing the next 5 roadblocks, and you just have to sit there and let them. Then you race to the checkpoint. Whoever is the slowest is out. Amazing Race does have some really cool twists. Not going to get too much into those. I think O.R.G. designers have been better at twist design than the actual Amazing Race, but the actual Amazing Race is not bad, and Phil Colgan is such a good host. Less common formats. So I've got everything on screen. There are tons of Squid Game orgs. I did have someone invite me to a Battle Royale org, which is 100 players. There's no social to it. It's just play minigame, play minigame, play minigame, play minigame. People are eliminated after each stage. Hunter Exam. is actually more used as a live game. I've only seen one person run a digital hunter exam. And I've talked about running a digital hunter exam, but we haven't gotten to that stage yet. We've got other seasons that are coming first. The Has-Been Hotel season. After the Has-Been Hotel season, I think we are doing a Kirby Crystal Shards season. I've got a very fun advantage gimmick specifically designed for that. But we don't know exactly what we're doing with that because we are focused on the now and not the later. The Circle, which I think is another UK TV show. Netflix has been promoting it. It's very, very social. They have mini games, but the mini games are social. And it's all about, are you who you say you are, or are you pretending to be someone? I don't think Circle orgs are that great because, of course, everyone is pretending to be someone. We're like, very few people on Discord are actually like, hi, this is my real name, and this is my real photo. But Circle orgs are an interesting one. Drag Race. I heard Drag Race orgs get played on TikTok. I've seen Drag Race orgs get played on Discord. I have never watched one. I've never spectated one, but people do play Drag Race, and sometimes they're playing with an avatar, and sometimes they are playing with their actual outfits. It's interesting. I do think several actual RuPaul drag racers have played digital drag race games in the drag community, but I'm not ingrained enough to have real information on that. But it's not like Survivor, where people will go on Survivor and say, I've played real-life Survivor games. I've played digital Survivor games. The most famous is probably, I'm going to get her name wrong, but Caroline from 3 seasons ago. She was a finalist. She was a horrible finalist. She spent her entire final tribal saying why another player should win. I'm exaggerating only a little bit. But she was in the org community for a while, and multiple people when she got on Survivor were like, I know her. I've watched her final tribal council videos that she's posted in these orgs. The Mole is fun. My issue with the Mole and also with the Traders is those games are built around their monetary incentive. In the Mole, one player is trying to cause the team to lose as much money as they can, while the other players are trying to win as much money as they can. But when you're playing an org, you don't have tens of thousands of dollars on the line to play for. So it's really easy to be like, I'm going to throw this challenge so that people think I'm the mole because there's no real money on the line, which is a shame, but also I'm glad Netflix picked up the mole again, but ABC did it better. Go watch the old seasons or watch the German mole. The German mole was fantastic. The Genius. I know I'm going in backwards order. The Genius, I actually applied to the American Genius season, and they have not contacted me back. Womp womp. The Genius was a South Korean game show. It ran 4 seasons. It had accusations of being scripted, but of course most of these shows have accusations of being scripted. You go back and you refilm scenes because sometimes things don't pick up audio. Sometimes things don't look great on camera. And
sometimes they just force people to do things to create their own. And it's just about, they can just do a lot of the editing to make it look however they want.
They can do a lot of editing to make it look however they want. I'm sure you could do an entire panel on that.
Yes. I really could.
That is not the subject I want to breach. I like focusing on the gameplay. I like focusing on the pure and the, this is what we're here for, and not the editing and production. But yeah, I applied to the Genius. I applied as a game show host. The Genius, the South Korean version, all of the players who got invited are specialists in their field. They are blackjack dealers who really know gambling inside and out. They are politicians who really know socializing inside and out. I know game shows inside and out. I know reality shows inside and out. Put me on that Genius season. I'm not going to be the smartest person in the room. I'm not going to be the most socially savvy person in the room, but I am the jack of all trades. Give it to me. This is what I have waited for. No callback. Nobody needs another cis, straight presenting white guy, with no sob story. I get it. Call me back when you see this video. They'll never see this video. Custom formats and evolving formats. So custom formats are delightful. They are when you have a game that doesn't follow something that's already been done on TV. Or evolving formats where you have a game that starts out like one game, but then it's like, oh, actually now I'm this game. I really like hosting evolving formats. You'll see our hosting record in a minute. It's not mostly evolving, but we try to change things up. So Nerd Wars is the org that I'm a part of. We started out as a post-pandemic org that was, a full pandemic org that was just trying to run our live game shows that we used to run when we were in college as digital versions. So the Summer Game Series and the Winter Game Series were both Survivor games. The Summer Game Series had a week of Big Brother, and the Winter Game Series had a week of Amazing Race, where we changed the game entirely on the players and did something different for a bit. Post-pandemic, we transitioned, we rebranded as Nerd Wars. And so we started with Project Main, which was a mentors season. We had 3 coaches who... We had 4 coaches. We had 4 coaches who they all had their share of players. They all had 6 players who they were talking through the game, and this is how you play, and this is what you need to be doing. And they would also play in reward challenges on behalf of their players. So we did a Survivor game, but we did it a little different. It wasn't just Survivor. It was Stephen King themed. And so we had some very fun things, like we had, every season has a big red button, which we stole from Big Brother. And when a player presses the button, something changes for that cycle. For Project Main, the big red button was, they were under the dome, and they weren't allowed to talk, to each other. They only could talk publicly. But one player didn't make it in time. He was left outside of the dome. So he wasn't allowed to talk to anyone for 3 days. And he also couldn't be voted for or cast a vote. He was just in exile. After that was my MAGFest backed org almost. A couple of years ago, I had a Olmec shrine downstairs next to Danny DeVito. And on the back of the Olmec, which was visible, was a giant QR code, and it took you to the server where you could play Legends of the Hidden Temple. And all of our players were partnered up. We added a couple extra teams, so we had 12 teams instead of 6 teams. So you had your blue barracudas, you had your green iguanas, but you also had your teal dragons and copper foxes and white elephants. And so we played a very amazing race, the challenge. It was the challenge duos in the first half. The winning team picked a duo to face off against the losing duo in an elimination challenge. We also had an earn your spot. If y'all remember Legends of the Hidden Temple where they had to cross the moat, we had a moat challenge, and the 2 teams that came in last in the moat challenge were just out, which is called a purge. At the halfway point, we formed a Survivor-style game with a jury, and you were voting people out onto the jury. And at the end of the game, we had a final tribal council, where the jurors would each vote for who they wanted to give help in the final physical challenge, where we had them run a hidden temple, and each juror was a temple guard. And so the jurors got to give an advantage to the player they liked most. And so it was a 7 to 2 to 1 vote. Emily won the vote, but Drowsy was the better player. Emily messed up 3 of the challenge rooms, and so her time was worse than Drowsy's, and so Drowsy won the season. And so I don't know anyone else who's ever done a format like that, and I am very proud that I've hey, this is my thing. Mana Confluence was a Survivor season. Any Survivor watchers, I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but anyone really watch the older Survivor seasons and remember One World, which was horrible? Not because of the twist. The twist was fantastic, but production just messed it up, and casting was Colton. So we did a Some World game. We had 5 tribes of 8 in a 20-player game. Now, everyone in the room can do math. 5 times 8 does not equal 20. Every player was on 2 tribes. Every player got to talk to 12 players. They had 11 players. They had their tribe, which was, it was Magic the Gathering themed. So you were on white, blue, black, red, or green. But the red team shared a beach with the green team, and they shared a different beach with the black team. And so the red team had to team up with the black team, and they had to team up with the green team for challenges. And so the losing collaboration of teams was the group of 8 that would go to a tribal. Very fun format. Red team totally got themselves very screwed, and they were 3 of the first 4 boots and 4 of the first 6 boots. Poor red team. Lastly, we had Majora's Wrath, which was a Survivor season, but it had what's called a Safari, which, how many of you have played Zork? No, nobody. Oh my gosh, I thought we were at MAGFest. Zork is a you type what you do game. It's a very old video game. You can actually play it in Black Ops. It's on the computer. It's a weird Easter egg. You say, I move north. I chop down the tree. And the game feeds you text back. So we made a Safari, which was 500 channels large in Discord, of Hyrule. You had an overworld where you would go around and try to find the labyrinths, and then you would go into the labyrinths, and they were full on Legend of Zelda 1 style labyrinths. I move east. I move north. I use the bow and arrow. You have to find the bow and arrow to be able to use the bow and arrow. It was also a mentor season, but we did 7 sages for you Zelda fans. Each of them had 3 players instead of a few mentors having a bunch of players. Each of them had a fewer number of players. We wanted them to have a more intimate relationship. And the mentors that took advantage of talking to their players and helped them with the Safari and helped them with challenges, they were the ones whose players were successful. The mentors who were like, hey, how's your game going? Their players did not do as well. Mystical Matchups is the other game I hold a record in, the 10 of 14. They're a custom format. Each new cycle, you have to find a new partner. You cannot repeat partners back to back. You can repeat partners every other cycle, but the odds of your partner making it through a cycle is not the greatest, because a cycle is 3 challenges long. You have the capital challenge, which is placement based. So you're thinking you're the challenge, you're the Amazing Race style. The last 2 teams are up for elimination, and anyone can vote any one of those 4 players. Then you play another challenge, and then you have the nerve-wracking nomination, where it is very social, but your challenge prowess matters. If you win the nerve-wracking nomination, you pick 2 teams. It's not based on their performance. You get to pick which 2 teams are up. And then again, it's 1 player voted out of the 4. The player who lost their partner in the capital challenge now partners up with the player who lost their partner in the nerve-wracking nomination, and you play another challenge. And then there's the double doom. The team that comes in last place, just the 2 of them are voted between. And then the team that comes in first place puts another team up. So you have a half capital challenge and then a half nerve-wracking nomination back to back. And that's what double doom is. And so in a cycle, 4 players are eliminated. They are currently airing season 17, I think. If you want a link to that, you can find me through any of the links I posted previously, or at the end, I'll give you my Discord handle. The Pyramid. I actually played the Pyramid on an alt account for their first season. I wasn't playing as me because I didn't want to have my placement matter. I didn't want to be hey, this is me in the community. And I made it to 5th place, I think. They are a weird game. They start with 25 players, and then 16, and then 9, and then 4, and then 1. It's squared. The first round is purely challenge-based. The bottom 6 or the bottom 8 players go into a vote against each other, and nobody else gets to vote. And then as a social round, it's very Big Brother style. The winning team picks which players go to the vote. Only the players at the vote actually vote, but they get to pick who they save entirely. Then you have strategic, which is going to be incredibly Big Brother. In fact, I think it was for the first season. I think it was just basically Big Brother. The winner of the challenge picks 2 people, vote one of them out. Final 4 goes back to strength. It is purely challenge based, and then the jury is made up of people who made it to the final 9, and the final 2 people have a social vote. So you go strength, social, strategic, strength, social, and you climb your way up the pyramid. I made the mistake of being like, hey, take this player down, put me up. Personally, if I'm out, I'm out. I don't care. I'm just here as an extra player for this game. But in game, I'm like, look, you want to target this person, you're going to get your way. And then they were like, hey, this person volunteered themselves. They don't want to play anymore, so they voted me out. Okay. Sucks, but okay. Lastly, this is a QR code to Nerd Wars Hub server. If you want to join any of the games that I've mentioned, join this server and then just reach out to me and I can link you to any of those. Pyramid is on season like 18. Twist Viver is on like season 33 or something. The better orgs tend to do like 1 or 2 seasons a year, in my opinion. That's not to knock mystical matchups. That's not to knock Twist. Actually, mystical matchup only does 2 in a year. That's not to knock Pyramid, who does 1 every 2 or 3 months. They have a very well-designed game, but people have real lives, and taking the time to curate a game and make the game actually be decent takes time, and you don't want to be planning the next season while you're running a season. So that's why I think that like the twice a year or once a year format is just those games tend to be better. Is there a game style that I haven't mentioned that anyone has played before that you want me to cover real quick? We've got a little bit of time to do Q&A/discussion. I opt more for discussion the way I run panels. I'd love for people to have some back and forth, but if there are any like questions, we can start there and then build to a discussion. Anything anyone wants to open the floor with? Yes.
So what's your favorite of these that you've been in?
That I've been in.
Yes. And like why, I guess.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so I like my challenge seasons. I've played 5 challenge games. I've made a final twice, and I've been the last person out 1 time before. And the other 2, I was in a partner relationship, and so those are iffy because like your partner can have a really bad social game and just get you thrown into eliminations. And I think as a whole, I like playing challenge games more because it fits my schedule better. I don't have the bandwidth to be social all the time. That being said, I think my favorite game was Survive-Rs. I've played 2 Survive-Rs seasons. Oh, also, just as a nice little pat myself on the back, there is only 1 game where I wasn't invited back to their All-Star season, and that was Board Viver, which I made jury, but I was voted out unanimously, and they ran a challenge that was give a rock. You have 10 rocks. Give them to whoever you want. Whoever has the most rocks without going over 20 wins. And I left the challenge with 97 rocks.
That's a lot.
Like every player was just like, we want him out. We want to vote him. And it was just like, all right, okay, I don't want to try to talk myself out of this. I'm done. I get it. So I went on to be their mayor of Ponderosa, which is the first player on jury, and I was very welcoming to the jurors, and I was very inclusive, and we had a very fun time. And being a juror was more fun than being a player. So yes, that season did not invite me back for All-Stars. But of the other orgs I've played that have had repeat seasons, I've played 7 different All-Stars seasons. Not because I do well in some of these, but because I put my all into being a fun player. And the funnest player I got to be was in Survive-Rs, where they had an Avatar: The Last Airbender season. It was called 4 Nations, and you started out on one of the 4 nations. And I think I started on Water Tribe. And every episode had an avatar who was immune, and they picked 4 other players to shuffle what team they were on. They took their bending away and gave them new bending. And I was the first player to be on all 4 elemental tribes. I found the fire idol in the safari. They had a safari. It was phenomenal. The safari was so good. And I'm good at safaris. Safaris are my thing. Part of safaris is being social and talking about information. And nobody would work with me because I'd played a Survivor season previously, a Pokemon-themed one. That also was a ton of fun. But I found every advantage in the Pokemon safari except for one. I gave them to other players. Being in a safari is a social thing. I only held on to one idol, but I knew where every advantage was because I ran that safari, and because this was an all-star season, people knew I ran that safari. So I got to the episode before Merge, and I was frustrated because people would not talk to me about the safari, and I was coming up short on everything. And I finally get to the Fire Nation. I get the Fire Idol, and the Fire Idol says, you play this idol, you save yourself. But then the person with the second most votes, you and they go to a fire-making challenge, which is usually a jigsaw puzzle. And I'm gonna put a pin in that. And so we get to this last vote before Merge. And we all know there's a redemption island. If you know Survivor, redemption island is you go to exile and you play a challenge against the people who have also been voted out, and then you can win your way back in. And I had been joking preseason that I'm Fire Lord JC. I am not a villainous player. I am a loyal player who supports my allies. I just happen to be an antagonist, not an antagonizer. But the main character of the season always gets hero. And I'm never the main character. I'm always the thorn in the main character's side. So I'm the villain. Whatever.
Debatable.
I've gotten hero in 3 orgs, so I'm not always the villain. I am a very difficult player to play with. I am a very difficult player to play against. I am confusing, and it's hard to be in a digital medium and typing to people. You lose so much nuance. So they're all pissed at me in their own ways, not because I'm actively harming them, but I've been swapped on 4 tribes. I've been a menace in the safari. We got to get rid of him now. And I'm everyone's he has an idol, he has an idol, he has an idol. I don't have an idol, but I'm going to redemption, and I will see you all in 3 days. And I won that challenge, and I changed my name from Fire Lord JC to Phoenix King JC. I hope you all have seen Avatar to appreciate this. And I really leaned into this antagonist role, and I'm yeah, I'm coming for you. And I made it to 5th place, and I found the Cabbage Idol. That was a tough idol to find. You had to go to 17 different locations on the safari map, and then make your way back to Ba Sing Se and turn in and give the cabbage merchant his cabbages back. So I played the fire idol, and somebody played the water idol and washed away my fire idol. But they saved me in doing so. I wasn't allowed to be voted out because of their water idol. I made it to final 5. No, I made it to final 6, and the cabbage idol was good at final 5, and I'm there, and this guy, Bread, is there. I love JT. He's so cool. JT is the player I met when he was 16, and now that he's in college, we actually have a pretty good friendship that I talked about way earlier. And the vote is split. They're going to vote 2 on me, 2 on JT. JT and I are going to vote 2 on somebody. And I'm just cool, JT, you need to convince them that you're with them. You need to have them put 3 votes on me. And he immediately goes and tells them that I have the idol. I'm JT, they're going to split the vote now, and I should have voted JT, because then I'd be at final 5, and I play the idol at final 5 if I don't win the challenge, and then I'm at final 4, and I'm not the best challenger I've met. I'm not bad at challenges. I play the idol on myself. JT gets voted out in a 2-2-2. That on the revote, he's voted out 4-2. I placed 5th. No, I mean, like, as much as I want to toot my own horn, like, I'm not great. I'm not an ace player at these games. You want an ace player? My friend here in the front row won 3 games in the same week, 2 of them on the same day, while presenting her master's thesis.
That's impressive.
You're my idol. So I have had the nickname Fire Lord for about 3 years now because I've never lost a fire making challenge, which is usually a jigsaw puzzle. I've lost jigsaw puzzles before, but I've never in a head-to-head lost against somebody typically at the end of the game when there's a tie vote and you don't have a way to fairly break a tie. You'll have a fire making challenge, and I am now 7-0 in fire making challenges. So come at me. I will take you on it. No, that's my favorite season. And sorry, I'm super long-winded, but like I don't get to talk about this much, and I have a captive audience. What else? Anybody have comments that they want to make? Any opinions? I definitely do want to hear from y'all. Any other questions?
What was the very first one you participated in?
So Jack Viver, I played their first season as a bonus player. They had 15 players. They needed one more person to start the season, and I was doing a podcast at the time with some Survivor, the TV show watchers. And they were like, "Look, we just need you to play. You can get voted out first." And I'm like, "I mean, I'm going to try." So I was in the bottom of my team, but we were winning, and we merge. And I'm at the bottom of the merge. People are thinking about voting me out. People are thinking about splitting the vote between me and somebody else. And I'm like, guys, Cece. Cece's got you. Let's flip this vote. And we flipped the vote. And it was the first time I had like actually made a strategy play in any of these games that was like legit. Because I've played in-person games, but I always was more of a social in-person player. And on Discord, when it's all typed, I just can't relate to people in the same way. I can't get my tone of voice is totally lost. My word choice is awful. I sketch people the hell out. It's bad. And I'm not trying to. And I'm open. And I'm like, look, we ask me. If you don't understand what I'm saying, talk to me. But no, this guy's being sketchy. I'm concerned. Like, talk to me. So we flipped the vote on Cece, and the next 4 votes go my way. And then we get to final 6, and they want to vote out Cassie, who's the person I did this podcast with. She is my ride or die. I am here for her. And they want to vote out Cassie. And I'm like, no, let's vote out Ellie. Ellie is going to win. Ellie can win challenges. Ellie is everyone's best friend. Let's vote out Ellie. Love Ellie. I love Ellie to death. Let's vote out Ellie. Everyone loves her to death. So the vote is still split 3-3. I cannot get people to vote Ellie. And I'm like, fine, I'm giving Cassie immunity. I earned this immunity. Y'all shouldn't vote me out, but I'm not letting you vote out Cassie. And we're like, cool, we've got 4 votes on Ellie. And now the other 2 people are voting me because I've saved Cassie. And Cassie votes me out. Girl, what are you doing? We're still Facebook friends. She's got a gorgeous toddler. Come on! So Jack invites me back for All-Stars season 5, and I was hero of season 1. I was villain of season 5. There were 2 14-year-olds, and they pissed me the ever-living hell off. They were so obnoxious. They were so immature. And we get to merge, and I'm done. They're cracking sex jokes at me. I'm 29. Stop it. This is not okay. And so I'm like, hey, Jack, can I get a one-on-one alliance with Winston? And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Give me an alliance chat with Winston, just the 2 of us, but I want the audience to see this. And he's like, okay. And for the next 2 hours, I raked Winston over the coals. I went at him, but I didn't attack his personality. Like, I was fair about what I said, but I was harsh and I was mean. And then Winston was voted out. Winston and Travis, who was also on season 1, the other 14-year-old, were the first 2 jurors. And so when I got to jury, it was not a fun time. Winston and I have since made up. One day I would like to meet him when I go to MAGFest because he's a Californian. And he actually gave me this jacket when I won his game. I got this, I got a straw hat, and I got a pair of jorts that did not fit. He was just throwing out some silly clothing, but this is a nice jacket. I like this jacket. And to this day, other players in Winston's org have continuously asked me to mail them this jacket because they deserve it for one reason or another, and I am not giving them this jacket. This is my jacket, Natalie. I played Season 8 of Jack Fiverr, which was Redemption Island. I went very far into the game. They had an Edge of Extinction twist, which people hate. Or no, it was Redemption Island proper. But in the final, I get voted out as the last person to go to Redemption Island, and we have a check-in challenge. Every 15 minutes, you have to, on the minute, send a code phrase. And we went for 36 hours. I had just gotten off of a 10-hour shift, and because of time zones, they delayed the challenge 4 hours. I conceded the challenge when I had to clock in at work and turn my phone off. I was up for 50 hours straight. Check-in challenges are the worst. And I have learned, I've hosted them before, but I very quickly learned my lesson. No, we don't do these. I'll do team check-in challenges where you are checking in while something is going on, but you can pass it off to a team member. And once you pass it off, you're done because you've got 8 players on the team. You're only taking 4 to 6 hours of your shift. But like, if you are just check in until someone doesn't, that is the only check-in challenge I've ever lost. I've participated in 7 check-in challenges, and every single one of them, I have been like, no, I'm winning this. And every single time it has been, why did I do this? This has been abysmal. Like, hosts, stop hosting check-in challenges. They're, oh my God. Ugh. So they invited me back for season 18, which was fans versus flops versus favorites. Now here's my track record. I gave away immunity and got voted out. In All-Stars, I got idled out when I knew the guy had the idol, and I could not convince another person to vote with me and vote somebody else. I actually voted for the person who eventually went on to win the game. I was 12th? No, 10th. I was 10th, so it was a 2 to 1 to 7 vote. 7 votes on Ross, who played an idol, 2 votes on myself, and 1 vote on Dongush. If I'd gotten one more person on Dongush, I could have flipped it around. So I got idled out, I gave up immunity, got out, and I lost the last redemption challenge. I'm on the flops tribe, right? Jack's like, nope, you're on the faves tribe. What? Why am I on the faves tribe? Nobody likes me. Everyone thinks I'm this absolute like oddball who is impossible to work with. How am I in the favorites tribe? It's because the hosts like me because I do give good confessionals and I'm a very good TV player. The whole season I joked I should have been on the favorites tribe because half the favorites tribe had never seen a Jack Fiverr season before. I was not favorites. Sorry, not favorites. Fans. I joked I should have been on the fans tribe. And I messed up several conversations where I would be talking to someone about fans and be like, yeah, favorite, and just say the wrong word. It was bad. No alliteration. Stop it. So Spencer had just won his season. I had Ash on my team who won her first season in a very stunning victory. But then you have Jem and Ian who were on the fans team. They'd never seen a Jack Fiverr season. I knew both of them I'd never talked to either of them, but they were both involved in other orgs. They're very much online reality gaming fans. So they were good picks for that team, but they didn't know anything about Jack Fiverr. I'm a bigger fan than they are. Ty was on the fans team. He wasn't in a single server. This was, I love her to death. Liv was on the Flaw. No, Liv was also on the Faves tribe. Oh my gosh, love Liv to death. Cannot wait to meet her when we go to Philly one day, and her boyfriend / maybe fiance by then. As you may notice, none of the flops are on the DVD cover. They flopped. It was bad. Is Holly on the cover? That's Jem. Where? Wait, is that Holly, not Liv? I thought that was Liv. That's Holly? Oh, I stand corrected. Holly, I robbed miserably in season 5. She flopped in season 5 because of a rock straw, which is what happens when you have a tie, but season 5 had a no revote policy. So if you tie, you just go straight to rocks. And her number one ally and my number one ally both were telling everyone lies, and they both flipped and caused a tie. I thought that was Liv. Sorry, Liv. I know what people look like, I swear. You just all look the same. I mean, coming in second in that season, it's really easy to say that was such a fun game, but like, Jax learned so much over time. It was such a fun game. Do your research. I'm out of time. The last thing I want to say is do some research. If a host runs the same challenge every season for 17 challenges and asks the same trivia question in every challenge, you make a study guide and you write down the list of the pre-jurors and their placements, and you copy it, and you have it ready to paste when he asks the question, name all the pre-jurors and your placements, and then everyone gets mad at you because you answered the trivia question in half a second when you knew it was coming. Thank you for your time. Thank you for letting me indulge myself on an obscure topic for an hour. Enjoy the rest of your MAGFest. Have a good night. In case anyone came in late and wants to meet me on Discord. My Discord username is super simple. It's J.con, like convention, period. If any of that sounded fun to you, shoot me a friend request. I'll send you links. Have a good night.
Who asked the best question in your panel?
I don't know who asked which question, but probably you.